take yourself seriously. The world doesn't need to, and it certainly won't. But that's where the game flips. When you decide that you're worth every ounce of energy you give. People are so busy trying to prove themselves to others, bending and contorting to fit into expectations, that they forget the most vital truth. No one else's approval matters. Not in this world. Not when every face you pass on the street is just a fleeting glance, a temporary distraction. You're the only constant. But it's easier, isn't it? Easier to stay small, to hide behind self-deprecation, to play along with the idea that you're just another cog in the machine. It's easier to laugh it off, act like you're not serious, like none of this matters. Because if it doesn't matter, then you don't have to try. You don't have to confront the terrifying potential buried within you. You can keep running from it. But here's the thing. There's no running. There's no escape. Sooner or later, you'll have to face it. The real question is whether you'll do it willingly, or let the world drag you kicking and screaming toward your inevitable confrontation with your own power. Take yourself seriously, because no one else is going to give you permission. No one's going to stop and say, "Here, now's your time. Now's when you're allowed to be everything you were meant to be." You have to take that. You have to seize it. Carve it out with your bare hands, if necessary. And that's where the power lies. Not in the approval of others, but in the cold, hard decision to make yourself the center of your own universe. That's where you become dangerous. When you stop waiting for the world to take notice and start acting like you've already won the game. You're not here to please. You're not here to be liked. You're here to dominate, to shape the world according to your own will. And that's not something you ask for. It's something you demand. People will always try to reduce you, to make you small enough to fit into their limited view of the world. But when you take yourself seriously, that's the end of their control. Because when you operate from a place of unshakable belief in your own worth, nothing else matters. The noise, the opinions, the doubts, they fade into the background, irrelevant. Here's the truth. Most people are too afraid to admit. The only one holding you back is you. Not the world, not circumstances, not some grand cosmic force. It's the little voice inside your head telling you that you don't deserve to take up space, that you don't have the right to demand more. But that voice, it's a lie, a comforting one, sure, but a lie nonetheless. Taking yourself seriously means drowning that voice in the silence of your own certainty. It means standing tall, even when the ground beneath you shakes, even when everything in your life is crumbling. What's the alternative? Continue pretending that you're content to be less than you are. Continue living in the shadows of your own potential, waiting for someone else to pull you into the light. Number, you take yourself seriously, because there is no one else who will. You are the only one who sees the world through your eyes, the only one who knows the depth of what you could be. And if you refuse to recognize that, then what's the point? Power isn't something you're given, it's something you claim. And when you take yourself seriously, when you stop apologizing for your ambition, for your intensity, for your very existence, then, and only then, do you become unstoppable. Treat yourself like someone worth saving, like a person standing on the edge, staring into the abyss, waiting for a hand to pull them back. But that hand, it's yours. No one else is coming. No cavalry, no savior. So ask yourself, if you were tasked with saving you, how would you do it? You wouldn't let yourself slip, wouldn't ignore the cries for help, wouldn't stand by and let yourself fall. You'd take action, you'd move mountains, and yet, for some reason, you keep giving yourself less than what you deserve, treating your potential like it's something you can toss aside. But not anymore. It's time to flip the script. Think about it. When you help someone, you want the best for them, don't you? You push them toward greatness, encourage them to reach for what's meaningful, not what's easy. Expediency, that's for the weak, the ones too afraid to dig deep and find what really matters. Expedience is the shortcut that leads nowhere, the instant gratification that leaves you hollow inside. And you know it. You felt it. That fleeting pleasure that never lasts, that rush of doing what's easy, only to find yourself standing in the same place, trapped in the same cycle. But meaning? Meaning requires sacrifice. Meaning requires you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, to tear down the walls you've built around your comfort. It's the path that makes your skin crawl, that makes your bones ache, but it's also the only path worth taking. Pursuing what's meaningful isn't glamorous, it's brutal. It will break you before it rebuilds you. But that's the beauty of it. That's where the real transformation happens. There's no honor in chasing the expedient, no glory in doing what's convenient just because it feels good in the moment. That's the path of the weak, the lost. When you pursue what's meaningful, you're choosing a life of purpose, a life that demands more from you than you ever thought possible. But it gives more too. And here's where the true challenge lies. You have to want it more than you fear it. You have to be willing to burn your old self to the ground, to rise from the ashes, more ruthless, more focused than ever. Pursuing what is meaningful isn't just about ambition. It's about survival. It's about realizing that the person you are right now isn't the person who will take you where you need to go. It's about becoming the guide, the mentor, the force of nature in your own life. If you don't treat yourself like someone worth saving, then why would anyone else? And if you keep chasing what's easy, what's fast, what's temporary, then you're doing nothing but prolonging your own suffering. Meaning is hard, but meaning lasts. It's the only thing that will be left standing when everything else fades. The question is, do you have the guts to pursue it? Do you have the strength to choose the harder path, to push yourself beyond the limits of who you are, for the sake of who you could be? Stop treating yourself like a passenger in your own life. Take the wheel, chart the course, choose the road that others avoid because they are too afraid to see what they're truly made of. Expedience might feel like a relief now, but in the end, it's nothing but a prison. Meaning will set you free. And the price for freedom is everything you are willing to sacrifice today. Sanity. It's not something you own, not something you can hold in your hands and say, "This is mine. I built this." No, sanity is outsourced, leased from the world around you. Think about it. People don't stay mentally intact because of their own strength. No, they stay sane because society holds them in place, constantly whispering in their ear, telling them how to think, how to act, how to speak. It's a subtle game of control, and most don't even notice they're playing. They live in the illusion that their minds are fortified, that they have it all together. But take away the constant reminders, strip away the influence of others, and watch what happens. Without the framework of society, most would crumble. Their sense of self, their stability. It's not truly theirs. It's a mask, propped up by the people they surround themselves with, by the rules they follow, blindly. So they outsource their sanity. They let the world dictate the terms of their mental health, clinging to the comfort of external validation, of fitting in, of doing and saying what's expected of them. They never have to dig deep, never have to truly face the chaos within, because the world is there to pull them back in line the moment they start to stray. But here's the thing: true strength, true sanity, comes from being able to stand alone in the storm, with no one around to remind you what's right, what's normal. When you can look into the void of your own mind and not flinch, that's when you've achieved something real. Most people, they can't handle that kind of freedom. It terrifies them. They'd rather let society shape their thoughts, tell them who they are, keep them comfortably numb to the chaos that's just beneath the surface. But the problem with outsourcing your sanity is that you're never truly in control. You're a puppet, moved by the strings of collective thinking, of societal norms. And the moment those strings are cut, you're lost, adrift in the vast ocean of your own mind, with no compass, no anchor. That's the terrifying reality no one wants to talk about. They think they're strong, think they've got it all figured out, but they've never really tested themselves. They've never been truly alone with their thoughts, with the darkness that lurks behind the mask of sanity. It's easier to outsource, easier to let the world think for you, to let it wrap its arms around you and tell you everything's fine, you're fine. But when you outsource your sanity, you're giving up control of the one thing that matters most, your mind. And that's the real game, isn't it? Controlling your mind, taking ownership of your thoughts, your perceptions, your reality, not letting the world decide who you are or what's acceptable, but defining those things for yourself. The price for this kind of control? It's steep. You have to detach. Detach from the voices that tell you what to think, how to feel, how to act. You have to break away from the comforting hum of the crowd, the noise that drowns out the terror of thinking for yourself. Most people can't handle it, can't stand the weight of their own minds without the crutch of society to keep them steady. But those who can, they're the ones who become unbreakable. When you stop relying on the world to hold your sanity together, you start to realize just how fragile the minds of others truly are. You see the cracks, the dependencies, the fear lurking behind every conforming thought, every safe choice. And in that realization, you find freedom, because you no longer need the world to tell you what's real. You decide that for yourself. You create your own sanity, your own rules, your own path. Sanity outsourced is no sanity at all. It's borrowed, temporary, always at risk of being pulled out from under you the moment the world shifts. But when you take ownership, when you stop letting society dictate your mind, that's when you become something else, something more. A force that doesn't bend, that doesn't need the safety net of the collective. You stand alone, strong in your own mind, and That is true power that ignites when you start to value your own existence.